This week's Four Questions Journalist Spotlight is brought to you by Leff's Atlanta Media, Atlanta's best journalist database. Subscribe at leffsatlantamedia.com.
Welcome to another edition of our Four Questions Journalist Spotlight. We're a little on the sporty side today. We've got Sam Crenshaw with us, who everyone knows from the sports scene around town. Sam, good afternoon.
Hey, Mitch, how you doing?
I'm
Thanks
good.
a lot for bringing me on board.
Absolutely. Been on my list for a while, so I'm glad we're able to kind of connect today. So we were talking earlier, and I rattled off a list of where Sam's working right now, and you said I got about half of it. So I had CW, 92.9 The Game, and Georgia Public Broadcasting. So what's the other half of what Sam's up to that I?
Let's see. The other half is my goodness. Let me see. I've been doing some things for a number of years with City of Atlanta TV. That's ATL 26, which allows me to exercise another side of my brain. And I've really enjoyed doing those stories. It is not so much about the politicians and the policymakers, but the people who do the work for the city. So it's been nice to do features on people who've been filling in potholes while we've been in quarantine. People who drive into the city, the streets are going to feel a little more smoother because people were filling in holes during that time where people had to still work and do that type of thing. So just more things about the people that make things happen in the city. Also, last summer, and while the pandemic was going on, I started a podcast with the WXIA Southern section called Talking Tennis Southern Style. And basically it's talking about people who love tennis. And we know Atlanta is filled with people who love tennis, who play the game, but volunteer for it, serve in leadership capacities, teach it, work in it, in the tennis industry. So it's nice to do those podcasts. So that was among other things that I'm giving. Also, you leave out the other thing I do that I'll start next Saturday, Georgia State. Football and basketball. So,
there we go. So are you doing the play-by-play?
I'm doing silent. Dave Cohen, the Hall of Famer Dave Cohen, does play-by-play along with Harper LaBelle, and I've been sideline reporter since the inception of the program at Georgia State. So it was some very lean years there, but when they were playing those first seasons over in the Georgia Dome. But man, the way the program is going now, the way it's growing, great leadership, great facilities, and a lot of great infusion of talent. It's a great time to be involved with Georgia State, and they're building a new gym for basketball. It's a cool time to be involved with Georgia State. Yeah,
Georgia State is. They're definitely on the rise. I think in 10 years, no one's going to recognize. No one's going to recognize the campus or the programs, right?
It's downtown Atlanta. Every building that comes vacant downtown Atlanta, Georgia State buys.
Every empty ball stadium, every ballpark. Yeah, hey, we'll take that, right?
Absolutely. That's what they're doing.
That's
Taking over
awesome.
Downtown.
Well, so you were at another local TV station for a couple of years, right? So how many years were you at XIA?
My goodness, 16, 17, I believe, years, 16 years. They're doing weekends there, and
right.
Sports team alongside my trusty sidekicks who were still partners in crime, Fred Khalil and Randy Waters. So it's an awful lot of fun.
That's excellent. So and were you somewhere else before that, or you didn't start your career at XIA, did you?
No, my goodness. I mean, I was able to be a full circle guy. I grew up on the south side of town and went to high school in East Point and went to West Georgia for college. And I joined the circus, as I call it, broadcasting. And I worked a little while in Columbus. I worked a little while in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. But the majority of the time I was in Augusta. Worked in Augusta for 5.5 years, 7.5 years in Greensboro, North Carolina. And after that, they decided, okay, you can come back. And so they let me come back. I got back here just in time for the Falcons to go to the Super Bowl the first time. Of course, that's the 98 going into 99. And that was so strange to say Falcons and Super Bowl, because if you lived and worked around here, the Falcons have been just so woeful. And so to land back here in time, of course, the Braves have been become a playoff fixture by the late 90s. So we're used to the Braves winning. But here were the Falcons going to the Super Bowl. And to get here in time to cover that and document that was pretty funny.
All right, so walk me through that. So when can we see you on the CW?
My goodness, the CW, I'm on 3 nights a week, and this is a newscast that was launched last year just before the pandemic hit. Interesting, it's done by CBS Network. Channel 69 White Air's CW programming is owned by CBS New York. We know that Channel 46 here in town is a CBS affiliate. But this station, this signal is owned by the eyeballs, right? They call it CBS. And we got started last year in February, but in March, the pandemic hit. they had an outbreak in the building up at CBS New York, and they just shut everything down. And we had to stop. The people may remember we were watching CW for a number of weeks. You were watching Boston News because that's what they were sending in order to fill that time. And so people who knew I was working with it says, "Why are you doing Boston News?"
I remember that. That was a little like, hey, what's going on there, kind of thing.
Yeah, and but it was showing that we are going to have news when we get the green light from New York to start it back up, and it didn't come until late last summer, and so we were able to relaunch it, and it's been nice. It's been different. You have to do a bit of a different audience. CW is a younger demographic. Some of their programs game to it, so you got a little bit of a different audience that's checking you out. But it's been fun. I'm in there 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Usually, Randy Waters on Tuesday, Nikki Noto Palmer on Thursday. But it's neat. It's something new and fresh. So it's been neat to be a part of something from the ground up.
All right, and the GPB job. Tell me about that.
GPB, my goodness, I started doing that while I was still at 11. Whenever I could be free, especially once we got to high school state playoffs. And so, we've been doing involved with that in a number of different areas, either doing play-by-play for games or doing sideline, mostly doing sideline for games, but doing color for some games as well, as I was last year for the state playoffs. And also doing digital work, participate on some recorded activities over there, but also do a weekly blog that I write every week. And the one this past week was about Creekside High School pulled off a shocking win last Friday night. They beat Grayson, which anyone who's heard of high school football at all in the area knows Grayson's one of the powerhouses. And so we wrote a blog about that this week. So, and do that. And this season, I'll be doing mostly blogs with them. There's a chance I may do some things with them, as they get toward playoffs, and then hopefully when we get to the state finals, be involved with those games. So they'll be back over at Georgia State, the stadium again. And that's because starting tonight, and this is why today is so hectic. Fridays are hectic for me anyway this time of year. But starting tonight on 92.9 The Game, we got a high school scoreboard show. 5 hours of radio, Mitch. Come on over and do some talking.
5 hours? Man. I don't know if I could. I do sometimes seem like I feel like I talk for 5 hours a day. But, man, at least I got a break in there somewhere, right?
From 7, we are going to do some things to break it up, some good interviews. And from 7 until midnight, when they first said that, I said, are you kidding? Most scoreboard shows are usually like after a game is over. So you're on like for 10 to 11 or 10:30 till midnight or whatever like that until the last coach goes home or something. You call and talk to them. Some of the scoreboard shows we've heard. And some have been around the state, different parts of the state, not originating in the city. So to me, this is the first one that originates in the metro Atlanta area with a strong signal that 92.9 has all the way down to around Macon and all the way into eastern Alabama. And all the way up to the top of the state. So we feel like that's going to cover a lot of communities. We're just going to give scores. Chris Parker, former coach out of Pickens County, now an administrator and does a lot of resources for coaches and enlightening coaches and talking with them, is going to join me. And we're just going to bring our knowledge and have some fun. We're going to do a segment called School Days, which I think I'm really looking forward to because a lot of people don't know who's played football in this area and grown up to do other things. We obviously know certain people who played their high school ball here, like a Cam Newton, or people like that, or so we watch them and you can see where it went. But there are other people who played and gone into other things, like Marquise Grissom, and they're playing baseball. Tyler Flowers played baseball. Were great high school football players. You got entertainers like Big Boy from Outkast, and even if I can get in touch, I'm trying to get in touch with him. But Ryan Seacrest, he played football for Dunwoody. Nobody asked him about that. I'm sure nobody has asked him about it in years, but that's a whole vault of stories waiting to be told.
So he's not returning your calls. Is that what you're telling me?
I got one person. I got one person I think that can reach him that I'm gonna deal with, that I can get to, because he's got so many people to get to him. Because this is a guy that never goes off the air.
Right.
He doesn't. He's like the pop version of Stephen A. Smith or Howard Cosell. As long as there's something broadcasting somewhere, this guy is on the air 24 hours a day. So. You got to go through the right people to get to him.
All right. So so that's Friday night from. Is that
Friday nights from? It's going to be every Friday night during the high school football season until we get to the playoffs. Because when we get to the playoffs, we don't know if we have a lot of teams from the area to stay in, or if it'll be schools from South Georgia, Middle Georgia. But we know for sure through the first couple of rounds we'll have a lot of metro area teams in, and We tell stories, interviews. We got reporters and correspondents going to go out to the games, interview coaches, interview players. You'll hear from bands. You'll hear from cheerleaders, and some topical things as well. But we got 5 hours. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of time to talk, but there's a lot to talk about, in high school landscape.
Absolutely. All right. And then where can folks find the tennis podcast?
Tennis podcast, just go to the USTA Southern section, look up Talking Tennis Southern Style, but it's on the USTA Southern section website. Got an interview coming up with football season just started with someone who was a really great tennis player. Former Georgia coach Jim Donnan was a really good tennis player in his youth. And he went to college at NC State at a time when you could play quarterback on your football team and play tennis. The spring football wasn't what it is now. Right. So it was very neat having a conversation with him about tennis and how much he loved the sport. We had one of the better ones we had earlier this year with Chipper Jones, who has become a tennis player, playing doubles with his wife. And it was quite candid, a fun conversation. I've interviewed and known Chipper for a long time after covering the Braves for years during his playing career there. But to hear him be excited about a new activity, something new that he can do, was a lot of fun.
All right. So when you're not blogging on the radio or on TV, what's something kind of fun and cool about Sam that folks don't know? And I'll give you an example. I was talking to, Tigner Rand over at Rolling Out. We were talking. Mm-hmm. We were talking, and I said, "What have you been up to lately?" He says, "I started painting." He had this beautiful painting behind him. I said, "Is that one of your paintings?" He's like, "That's one of my paintings." So did you take up a new hobby during the pandemic or anything?
So many people did. And, all I did was try to stay in some form of shape. We get out and walk. And I guess I've done that and tried to encourage people on my Facebook page to do something to move. If I go out and go for a walk, a hike or something through the park, or I've done more spin class more than anything, which is, for me, is something out of a pool of water underneath the bike when I get done. But I always take a picture, put it on my social media, say, "Hey guys," and drink the water. Don't forget to do something that's good for you today. So it's something I've kind of done to kind of encourage people. But I guess if I got hobbies, things I like to do, I like to play tennis whenever I get a chance to. It's kind of hot and humid right now to get out and play, but I enjoy getting a chance to get out and play. That's kind of my exercise of choice. Yes, because some other things to collect. I've been really refocusing on my trading card collection, which I got some collectibles, and I just kind of keep them under wraps. Some Jordan rookies and some guys like that I have, and some really special ones. So it's one of the couple of things I kind of refocused on during the time that we were hiding from everybody.
Right. Okay, so now the fun question. So, is there usually I've kind of updated this one. I used to say, "What's a good book that you've read lately?" But I'm going to give you the option of saying book or podcast. Is there you have a favorite podcast that you like? I'm always trying to find something good to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one I get Talking Tennis Southern Style. There are a lot of different ones with tennis, cracked rackets. One from the tennis.com that I listen to, but there's some with a lot of other good information too. But I guess a book that I've read that I've always, since I'm doing stuff with the city of Atlanta, it intrigued my interest in how the city of Atlanta got to be what it is. And Andrew Young, former mayor and former UN ambassador, wrote a book about the makings of the modern day Atlanta. And it was a very fascinating read to find out how things came that way. Some of the deals that were struck, some deals that we try to do them now, probably some folks would get in trouble, but it helped. I mean, deals like the deal that brought the Braves to town.
Right.
People. That's been so long ago, and a lot of those people are no longer with us. But you had people with a bank, people with a different lending institution. They said, "Hey, we want your baseball team down," and it went through some corners and channels that I guess didn't exist then, but you wouldn't be able to do it now. Next thing you know, we got the ballpark ready in a year. They built the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium was built in 1 year, and it leaked like it.
I was going to say some people would say, and we can tell.
Yeah, and you can tell it was a rush job. It was a rush job because the team was on the way. But to read his thoughts on how Atlanta got to be the city, and obviously his involvement with the Olympics, and you run into personalities like Billy Payne and people of that nature who really helped to shape things. And now we can't put enough lanes on the freeway. The people won't stop coming here. They're building apartments on every blank parcel of grass anywhere in the area. It's incredible to see what's happening, but it's a good read.
All right, so you're at Benchwarmers right now.
Yeah.
So should I put that as your favorite local restaurant, or is it, you got something else you like?
It's like a favorite Friday spot. It's a favorite Friday spot, because it's kind of into town, and it's exit down from CW. Yeah. And we got a lot of monitors here. I can monitor and see if anything else is shaking or on a Friday at this time. You don't know if something happens, so we can do that. But I guess if there's a favorite place, and I've really suffered during this pandemic, it's Starbucks. That's my spot. I can go, I can take my iPad and just do all kind of work. I can write. For some reason, being in that environment, it just flows. I can write anything, any topic or whatever. It just flows out there. And I'm a collector of Starbucks mugs. And it kind of tells where I've been. I got them from any stuff I've been internationally. My daughter went on a trip to London, Paris, and Rome. She knew what I wanted. She brought me back Starbucks mugs. I went to cover the Olympics in 2004 in Athens, Greece. Starbucks mug. So that's kind of tells where I've been.
I used to do that. I used to do that with shot glasses.
Okay.
So I'd bring them back. If my wife made me get rid of some of them. I kept about half of them. She's like,
it's nice.
Yeah, it's something. They were small. They're like $5 a pop. So if I'm traveling on business, I'll get a shot glass. It's kind of fun. Some of them are kind of fun and fancy. I will say there's a great restaurant kind of right next to where you are now called Desta. If you haven't been there, it's
really, no, I haven't.
It's Ethiopian, awesome food.
Okay.
You'll see it when you walk out. When you walk out, look to your left there.
To the left, right.
Yeah, great place. All right, so last question. So, local getaway. Is there a fun place you like to go other than a place with lots of screens? Place you like to walk or go or get away, beach or something like that. You got a favorite
beach.
Local?
A beach. You mean going that far away? I think you're talking about somewhere in town. That's one thing I was looking to do coming out of the pandemic. There are a number of places that I want to go and see. I ain't been to Callaway Gardens in a while. I just feel the place just to go and just get lost for a day or something to do that. I want to go to Macon, the recording studio where the Allman Brothers, I forget the name of the records label that decided that they all the Macon bands recorded on. You can go on tours of it. And I saw it on CBS Morning News. They did a story on it one Saturday morning. I said, you know what? When this madness is over, I'm just going to go down there and visit it because I find stuff like that intriguing and interesting. And it's not far away. You drive 90 minutes down to Macon, you do that, and then you find some other things to spend the day on. But this is what you kind of go for. So I'm looking forward to doing some things like that.
Cool. Anything else we haven't talked about that you've got going on? Any charity events or anything that you're working with? Nonprofits you want to plug here? Anybody you like?
Anybody
you like? Anybody you like? Let's not talk about anybody you don't like.
Oh gosh, we talk about all kinds of folks. Whatever. Just happy to see that we're going to have sports this fall. Hopefully, people can keep it safe and crowds back. I know we love our football, and especially here in Atlanta and in the Southeast, we want to get back out to the games. We want to do it safely. I mean, tonight we've got high school, and we're concerned. There are a number of games in the area that have been postponed and canceled because of some teams got some positive tests. So to me, that's the thing this fall is, if people do what you want to do, usually do, but do it as safely as you can so that people can participate. I hate the idea of stuff being shut down or somebody saying, hey, we're not going to play or anything like that. So, let's preserve it, take care of it, and enjoy it as best we can.
Excellent. We've been talking with Sam Crenshaw. I appreciate your time, Sam. And everybody tune in next Sunday, for another edition of our 4 Questions Journalist Spotlight.